Coach, it seems like he came out with some purpose and maybe a little aggression offensively. And how would you kind of assess how well you guys hit the ball up and down the lineup?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Really good ball club, and the opportunity to get these guys going a little bit here at home. It was kind of those days as a manager, it scares you with the wind blowing out like that because you could a walk, an HBP, a pop up, and the game's just close all game. And we battled early, and we were able. I thought the at bat by Ace Reese really kind of opened that game up when he hit the double down the line and really spread us out. And man, our guys took advantage of it.
Robbie,
guys, especially maybe the pull hitters can see that wind too and kind of get big eyes, but your guys seem to kind of stay within themselves and have really good at bats. What do you think of
Hunter Hines didn't hit a home run the whole BP, I don't think. So that was nice, like trying to stay on the ball and just hit balls hard. And that was the message, because the message was you don't have to try harder today. There's more holes, balls land because of the wind. There was just a lot more, and I thought they did a great job with it.
And seeing Hunter too come up with 2 big hits.
Yeah.
And like you said, they were single up the middle. It was not trying to do too much, getting a big hit. I mean, how'd that feel seeing him get back in?
Yeah, it's awesome. We need him. Like I know it's been tough. My heart goes out to him. I know how hard the kid works. And we need him. We need him to be a special offense, and we have a lot of special pieces. But I mean, he's got a chance to be one of the better players in the league, and he's done it before. I was just happy for him, especially the last at bat. You're kind of going. I know it's a big game or whatever, but 2 strikes and he stays on the ball and just hits a missile to the infield. So, a really good night for him.
David, days like today, somebody's going to be the big hitter today. It's Nolan Stevens out there getting the 2 shots, and just seem to be some nice, easy swings on his part too.
Will you tell him that? That's been the approach, is easy swings. Like, he's very talented, had a really good night, and a good player. Sometimes he tries a little too hard, tries to hit it a little too hard. So, but he's a really good player. When he comes in here later, we all ask him how he missed the 3-0 pitch that we gave him because he swung too hard. So maybe ask him that question.
Doug.
Coach, we were screaming, looking through the record books at the end of the game, trying to find a margin over Southern Miss here. Never could find one. What kind of a win like this over a quality and ranked team does this do? What does it do for the team?
That's great. I mean, like I said, you know it. You've watched us the last week or so, and we're good. I really truly believe we're good, and we just got to play better. And I think this is a step in that direction. And hopefully we got a week and a half here before we get to SEC play, that we can build some confidence and some momentum.
Steve,
What do you feel like you got out of Jacob Pruitt tonight? Kind of where does he stand in your future plans?
Well, I thought he was competitive. It is when you're a breaking ball guy tonight, can be a little bit tough. Landing I didn't think he landed his off speed as well as he did last week, but we're just trying to build up his volume too. So trying to get him to, a 4 or 5 inning guy. But I thought it was okay. I thought he competed, which I like to see. I just knew he was having a hard time finding that slider.
Yeah. So Ace, Noah, and Nolan. If I go back and napkin that, right? 10 hits, 10 RBIs. Just
wow.
How did you feel seeing that as part of your lineup there?
Really good. Noah, what a night. I mean, a perfect night almost. And then Ace, I thought Ace got it going there late. And then Nolan, I thought who hit the 2 homers back to back? Was that Noah and Hunter?
Nolan?
Yeah, and Nolan, so I'm sorry. So, that was a big part of the game right there. Like some really good at-bats and just, not trying to do too much.
Ben.
Yeah, Brendan just touched on the middle of the order and how they were crushing the ball, but the bottom of the lineup too, given Gallon Sanders the start, he comes up with the hit. Dylan Cup reaches base every time he comes up. So what did you like from some of the guys in the back part of the order?
That's why you see a score like that, is when your bottom of your lineup hits, it's just hard to, they were pretty good. And I thought Gatlin gave us some really competitive at-bats. He's a good player. Probably should have played a little more to this point, but I like him. He's a slow heartbeat guy, so he doesn't get too sped up. Made a nice double play there off of Higdon late, so I thought he played well, and I thought Dylan Cup had some really good at-bats.
Sam, you go.
Bruce, when you have such wind like this tonight, how much does that factor, if at all, into strategy or lineup decisions?
No, we spent a long time talking about hitters and what hitters and where's it blowing and when's it going to stop today, believe me, because you don't know which guy, until we took BP. It's kind of a weird win anyway, because you saw it knocked a lot down to left. Noah still got one out, but a lot of those balls hung up, So we spent a good bit of time talking about it.
Robert.
Every coach is different in how they put their lineups together and what they're looking for. You have so much depth and so many guys that come through. Do you like being able to just look at the pitcher or look at the wind and put guys in there, or do you want to have your 9 guys and go with it?
I like having 9. I like having about 12, but we do have, like, we have some guys, like, I feel bad with tonight when we put the lineup up and Aaron Downs ain't in there because I think that's one of the better players. And I got to get Garrett Fry. You know, I told Go before we walked out, I got 2 of our hottest hitters, and they're not in the lineup, but the other guys matched up better, and the other guys, man, they performed. And so it's a good problem to have. The good teams in the country have those problems. And the more they hit collectively as a group, they all get to play. And that's a good thing. But I like it a little more set. But I'd rather have a couple extra good hitters.
Got time for a few more, David?
It was still a competitive game. We put Chase out there, and he had a really efficient 2 innings and 22 pitches to get through that. And how does that impact his availability this weekend?
Chase will be good. He's how many do you have total?
22.
22
Oh, wow.
pitches and 2 1-1 innings.
Wow, that's pretty good. So he can probably throw tomorrow. So, you know, those sidearms like a softball pitcher, I tell him. So he should be good. But he'll be around this weekend. He will have him. That was a nice part is we didn't have to wear through too many. I thought we'd have to throw a lot of arms tonight against those guys.
Steve and then Doug.
Kind of along those lines, I mean, I don't want to remind you this, but I'm going to 6 games in 8 days. I mean, it really taxes the depth of your bullpen. What chances maybe we see, you know, Nolan Stevens or, you know, Noah Sullivan maybe eat some innings up in Biloxi?
And some of our young guys. I mean, we're going to need them. We're going to have to use everybody because you got to be ready to go Friday night against Texas. And so you got to have your best bolts in there. So I'm hoping you see some new faces out there on the bump. And some of them just are going to have to pitch a little bit more. You know, we've been using them as 1-inning guys. They'll probably all get increased a little bit as we go through the next couple days.
Coach, seems insignificant when you win by 15, but there was a little roller down the third base line. It looked like the third baseman might have touched it and couldn't be reviewed because it didn't go past the bag. But how did you see that? Is there any part of that that could be reviewed?
I got bad eyes. I think everything goes for us. So, like, I'm always thinking it's fair or foul for us. And then Cheese just shook his head and said it was foul. So he had the better. I mean, I'm got an angle. But, yeah, you can't, you know, that. And that's why I went out, and he said, no, I couldn't. And so that's what happens on that play. You can't review that play. You know, I don't. Cheese just didn't think it was. And so I usually, you look at me, I look at our first base coach, our third base coach, and I think we got one overturned because our first base coach thought it was safe tonight on the Stallman ball. And so he did a good job of telling me. I usually lean on them more than Milo.
Nolan, first things first, Coach wants to ask how you missed a 3-0 pitch.
So, a little about that. I'm not going to say what the signal is, but Lim gave me a green light for the 3-0. Well, I look at him, doesn't give me a green light. You know, we have a signal for it because I want to hit there. I'm like, I'm seeing it well. I'm having a good day so far. And he doesn't give it to me. I look at Cheese at third base. Cheese looks at me and kind of like, you know, I can't say anything. Like, that's on you. And I look back at Lim. He gives me the signal, and I get too antsy, overswing a little bit. Probably. Swung probably 120%, and then I stepped out and just told myself, you know, you don't have to overswing. You don't have to overswing, especially with the wind blowing out. You just got to hit something hard in the air and it'll go.
Was that the home run at bat?
Yeah, it was.
Steve.
Chase, a lot of tough ball games here as of late. Like all 3 games you guys have lost have come down to the 9th inning. How did it feel in that dugout to have some margin and have a loose dugout, knowing that, you know, this is just a matter of what the final score was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, at any point with this lineup, I mean, the game can change pretty drastically with the amount of talent that we have on the offensive side. But I mean, pitching-wise, it makes it a lot easier when you have a lot of run support, which tonight, like you said, we had that. So I mean, it makes it a lot easier. But yeah.
David.
Just take us through your 2 home runs there. We know about the 3-0 pitch, but just to give us how you saw both home runs there.
Yeah. Let me try to think back to it. So, first at bat, second at bat, home run, the first home run. Coach Goat told me, you know, look for a heater. He's going to attack you with a heater. And, you know, sometimes the best advice comes from your own team. And, you know, Stallman told me, he was like, hey, I think he said like 4 or 5 sliders. He's throwing a lot of sliders to the left on left. It's a lefty pitcher. And then Ace, I'm watching Ace hit as Stallman's telling me that. And Ace is just, they're snapping him in there. So I get up there, you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm sitting looking for a slider, looking for something to pop. He throws me, I think, first pitch, a cookie. Just a fastball right down the middle. You know, it's part of it. It's baseball. I step out, get back in there. Next pitch, it's exactly what I'm looking for. So.
Ben.
I was going to ask, just when you see the flags whipping out to right field, especially as a left-handed hitter, you come to the ballpark, I'm sure your eyes get big and all that, but how do you avoid just sort of, trying to hit the ball 500 feet and standing on and not trying to do too much?
It's really just not overswinging. Our coaches talked about it before the game. Coach Go and Lim and Cheese, honestly, everybody was just talking about, it's a player's ballpark today, and you don't have to overswing to get it out. A lot of people try to overswing, like you said earlier, like 3-0. But really you don't. You just got to hit something hard, and you don't have to change anything at all. It'll go.
Doug.
We looked through the record books, and this may be the largest margin over Southern Miss at home in the history of the series. But how satisfying is it? But more importantly, what kind of confidence do you have now as you're heading into the stretch to SEC?
I'm going to go first.
Yeah, well, so I mean, a game like that, 2 weeks ago they got us, they got the best of us. So coming into this game, we're looking to beat them, obviously. But I lost my train of thought. You go.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Repeat that question one more time for me, and I'll get it right.
You beat a quality team and you beat a ranked team.
Yeah.
And you really needed this confidence boost. But that's the way I see it. Well, how do you see it as we're heading down to SEC play?
Yeah. I would say specifically Lim. He's been talking about it. I'm going to be honest. He talked about it every day since we lost to him. That just can't happen. We know we're a better team. A lot of people would say we're better on paper last time we played them or whatever. But it doesn't matter. It's baseball. You win games, you lose games. Last time we went to their place, they got the best of us, and I would say our team as a whole, I haven't forgot about it leading up to today. We were ready.
Robbie.
I can't recall if you were in the lineup or not at that game, but what did you feel was the difference this time around against them, against their arms offensively? Faced a couple of guys that y'all faced the first time. What did you think was the difference today?
I think our approach, for surely. I think all of our hitters had a good approach. We weren't, like I said, trying to do too much. It wasn't just homers today. You saw walks, you saw base hits, you saw doubles, and the long ball. I think that plays a big factor, approach, but also just mentality as a team. We've played a few games where you feel like the mentality's not there, and where everyone in the dugout isn't as bought in as the person who's playing. It's even just as important as someone who's not in the game to be as locked in and bought in and want to win just as bad as someone who's on the field. And it's hard. It's hard to do that, especially for people who aren't playing. But I think in Southern Miss we had that. I think leading into the day, you can just tell the vibe was different. It wasn't just we're going to go out there and kill these guys. It was every guy in the dugout wanted to win. It wasn't just the guys on the field.
Steve.
Chase, I want to go back to the pickoff at first there. Maybe kind of take me through the communication piece of that, kind of what you saw there. I mean, obviously it was extremely well executed. I didn't even review it. It was so obvious he was out. But I know some of that comes from the dugout and some of it comes from your own intuition. So just maybe kind of take me through that.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I came in, Coach Barker told me that the guy on first obviously had he could run a little bit, and he was the runner. So honestly, the first pitch was supposed to be like a pitch out, but I get the pick off first. Get that, he got back pretty easily. The first two he got back pretty easily, and then I made a pitch for strike one. I tried to go off the same timing for that next pick, and he tried to jump it a little bit, and it just worked out. So.
Last question, Doug.
Chase, one of the things that Coach told us in preseason was that they could practically simulate everything here except pitching in front of a duty noble field crowd.
Right.
We really haven't had that yet with the weather and everything. But having pitched at Virginia, is there anything that you go out there that you haven't seen already?
I mean, it's hard to compare to here, like you said. I mean, the fans, just the environment, it's just completely different. I mean, I've obviously pitched in front of a decent crowd size, but I mean, the environment itself is different, and like you said, like you can't really prepare for it. You just kind of got to go out there and do the best you can. So.
But as a veteran, you're not shaken by that when you go out there.
You try not to be. Try to hold it down a little